What a week in professional cycling. The greatest heroes from the hell of the north. Some finally moments, including a rising star in the Basque country for France. There's loads to get through. So hello and welcome to the Gruppetto. It's become a theme of this spring, but could Tadej Pogačar do it? The reigning champion in 4 of the 5 monuments was looking to do that 5th and final frontier in one-day racing. Yes, of course, I'm talking about Paris-Roubaix. At his only attempt before this, one single mistake had cost him.
He's seated, he's moving, and straight away was a gap. Tadej Pogačar wins Liège-Bastogne-Liège again, and the first man ever to be on successive monument podiums. Here we go, Tadej Pogačar attacks, a modern Campionissimo. Celebration day yet again for Tadej Pogačar. The Giro di Lombardia belongs to Tadej Pogačar. Here we go.
We've got a race on our hands here, boys.
It's Pogačar at the front. It's Pogačar there. All the way to the line. It's done. He has done it. Tadej Pogačar wins in Sanremo. This is the moment. This race will be remembered for years. Pogačar's case to be the greatest that this sport has seen continues. And only the Roubaix cobbles now stand in his way of all 5 monuments.
Given what he could achieve, all of the Poggy-Roubaix talk was obviously loud. But the pre-race favourite was surely the man who was aiming for a record of his own. After last year's hat-trick in hell, Mathieu van der Poel hoped to join Bonen and de Vlaming as the only 4-time winners.
Nothing but respect for greatness at the highest level. MVDP is a different breed. The preparation, the mindset, the willingness to embrace the pain, that's what separates the legends from the rest. The Hell of the North is just not a race. It's a test of will. The mud, the cobbles, the chaos. It's about who you are when everything gets uncomfortable. Go be great. Go make history.
So the stage was set, with the other actors also ready to read their lines. Ganna, Pedersen and Wout van Aert all lined up for a Sunday in hell. We know it's more than a race, this. Mathieu van der Poel searching for a 4th successive victory in hell. The conditions are set for us to go supersonic, one of sport's great tests.
Make it hard, keep it hard, don't let anybody recover.
Now, Tadej Pogačar striving for 5, but the quest is in serious trouble. Mathieu van der Poel is at the front. There is definitely no holding back. Mathieu van der Poel needs a bike change. The wheels are bumping, the chains are jumping, bones rattling, but he's still there. He's sticking to him, and Pogačar can't shake him. They've been through hell, tired minds, aching legs, and they must now go for it. 5 hours, 16 minutes, and Wout van Aert sits on the wheel. His team's been coming here for decades. They've never won it. The bell will ring, 1 lap to go, and it's going to be Pogačar who's going to be forced to lead this one out. Pogačar who's come here hunting, been through everything. Wout waits, who's been through his own trials and tribulations. Today there have been mechanical incidents and problems. One of these two will be a brand new winner in Paris-Roubaix. Half a lap to go now, and it's Wout van Aert who starts to sprint early. Van Aert is there and he hits the front. Now can Pogačar get it? No, he can't. No, he can't. The gaps are opening up, and Tadej Pogačar, having got this close, having got so close, within touching distance, can't do it. It's Wout van Aert, and it is wonderful. He denies Pogačar the 5 monument wins, and Wout van Aert is the winner of the fastest ever Paris-Roubaix.
It means everything to me. It's been a goal since 2018. when I first did this race. And it's now 8 years ago, and in that race I lost a teammate, Michael Gallagher. Ever since then, it's been my goal to come here and point my finger to the sky. This victory is for Michael, but especially for his family, for staff, Marianne, Christophe, and all my friends and teammates in my previous team. It was a really tough day, and yeah, ever since then, some kind of way I was so many times unlucky in this race, but it brought me also experience. So even today, when luck was not on my side, I kept believing in it, and finally the reward is there.
Well, we're here in the cafe. Matt's not made me a coffee. I tell you what, though, Wout van Aert's family will be on the champagne tonight, won't they? I mean, what a story. All the talk beforehand about Pogacar, you know, we were all guilty of it for obvious reasons. Yep. The editorial was there. Van Aert didn't really figure in that conversation. We knew he'd been building good, but what a race and what a winner.
He's just chipped away this season, got better and better and better. It's his second monument win, but he had to go so deep today. And he had his fair share of bad luck, but just the story leading to this point, I think it's fair to say, even like off camera before the show, before commentating, I think all of us would have wanted a Wout van Aert victory. I think it's a victory for cycling. Yeah. It's not a redemptive win, it's just an important win, because he's such a class act on the bike, off the bike. That's the thing about, we saw the other day, didn't we, Mads Pedersen coming congratulating him when he was caught by Ganna and passed in across Flanders, you know. So and it just feels right for Wout to be a winner of Paris-Roubaix. 2 monuments now for the man. It just briefly all feels right in the world with Wout winning today. And the outpouring of emotion at the finish line was palpable, wasn't it? I must admit, mate, I was choked up. And I think you were a little bit as well. In the comments, we're listening to you calling it across the line. Then there was a slightly longer pause than normal. And that's because of the raw emotion that this victory has brought. It's great for cycling, wonderful for Wout and his family and the team as well. Fair play to Plugger. His core strength was immense, wasn't it? Because Wout literally jumped on top of him. And it was just to win. And in Wout's words, to paraphrase Wout's word in that emotional post-race interview, to finish in the company of the world champion and arguably, depending on your point of view, the greatest rider of all time, you know, on the men's side of things, to finish with him, put the rainbow jersey away in such an emphatic fashion. What a story. One of many that are always told every single year in Paris-Roubaix. That's what makes this race so special. To do it there in front of his kids, we're just seeing that his kids there, I mean, they just want to see their dad, don't they? They probably won't know until they're a little bit older how important this win is to Wout. But what a day, what a race. And Wout's back. But he never really went away, did he? He's always been there. He's always a rider that we care about so much. I could talk for ages about him because I love the guy. He's such an important part of cycling. He really is.
I mean, everything he's been through, the injuries, the problems, the cyclocross, the doubt and the pressure of being Belgian as well. Yeah. Let's not forget that. I think we forget that pretty easily. But our great mate Nathan van Hooydonk there, that was one of the images that I saw. I mean, it was a tremendous race, you said. Let's have a look at how it was won, shall we, with Adam Blythe.
Right, let's have a look at this race because it is absolutely bonkers from start to finish. There's nothing like it. It's so special. This is Mads Pedersen. We're going to look at all the bad luck everyone had. And Mads had a slow puncture in his rear wheel here. This is with around 130, 140 k's to go. He eventually got back on, but it took him a little bit of time to do so. Luckily, the peloton was pretty much all together at this point. So getting back in for him, it wasn't too much of an issue. Unlike this man who had a puncture straight after him, Wout van Aert, he got going again. And as you can see in the distance, in front of him there, he had Owijndal with him, so he had a teammate to help him get back in, and this was roughly early stages, but it's just energy that you don't want to use, and every little bit of energy you use in Roubaix, you're thinking about, you're questioning constantly. And then this happened. Tadej Pogacar, front wheel puncture. The cars were so far behind that he had to jump onto the spare bike. I'm still questioning why he didn't change his front wheel. So he got onto the neutral service bike. This will probably be one of the only times we ever see this in his career. Eventually got going, got onto his own bike once again, but then had a chase of around 1 minute and 30. He did get teammates drop back to him, but he did have to spend a lot of time in the wind. We got onto the Arenberg Forest where Tadej got back in, and Van der Poel, as you can see on the right-hand side, got a spare bike, he had a puncture, jumped onto Philipsen's bike, but Shimano brought out some new pedals, and as you can see, Van der Poel could not get in them. But luckily for Van der Poel, he had two teammates and one punctured just before this. So he got to Van der Poel's bike, started to change the front wheels for him so he could get back onto his own. And if you just look at this shot, this is brilliant for me. Just walking back, cruising back, not in a rush, not in a panic, just like what has gone on. And in all places, why here? Got the wheel back into his own bike and then eventually got started once again after putting his own chain back on. But at the end of the Arenberg Forest, he had another puncture. So that's two punctures in the space of about 600 metres. And by this time, the gap has extended to roughly around 2 minutes. If there was ever a worse place to have a puncture mechanical, it's in the Arenberg Forest. And this man had two of them. As I said, this left him with about a 2 minute gap to the front riders. Wout van Aert, Mads Pedersen, Tadej Pogačar, all 2 minutes ahead. We then got another problem for Tadej Pogačar. He had a puncture or a problem with his bike, so he changed his bike, but roughly around the same time, Wout van Aert had a puncture. Now, this set Wout back chasing for roughly around 10k. Tadej got back in with around 3-4k, so not too much effort for him. But Wout took quite a long time, 10k's to do so. He had a couple of riders with him to help, and when he got back in, they got onto section 13 of the cobbles, and this is where we started to get excited. This is where the race started to open up, and we got a little bit more action from this front group. Wout went over the top before this cobbles section eventually started. You can see smooth tarmac, followed by Tadej, and following Tadej is Mads Pedersen. This was the start of the final for me. This is when the race opened up, and Wout was the one to do so. Near the end of the cobbles, Tadej went around Wout, and you can just see Wout here really moving his body on the bike. But importantly, Mads Pedersen getting distance. This was the last time any rider would join these two at the front. This was with around 53k's to go, I think. Yeah, 53k's to go, and then it was these two pretty much all the way to the finish. Tadej on every cobbled section would try to take advantage of the cobbles, try to go on the attack. This is at Carrefour de l'Arbre where he almost came a cropper here, held it up. Wout as well, he didn't go straight past him here to take advantage. He just sat on the wheels. With this cross headwind, he was able to shelter. They got into the velodrome together. We did not know who was going to win. At the end of Roubaix, sprints are different, but Wout van Aert, he's won on the Champs-Élysées twice, in a sprint and on his own. So when he did open up, we were nervous, but from 2 seconds into this sprint, you can see the raw power go through him. He went straight round Tadej, no hesitation. And to the finish line, just distance kept growing and growing and growing. For me, this is probably one of the most exciting Roubaix, and Roubaix, from what we've seen here, it's one of the most difficult races to win. Luck, everything has to be on your side, and even with problems, there's a classic saying, you need to keep riding. This man kept riding for about 5 years trying to win this race, and he eventually did it in a brilliant way. The world champion behind him, I mean, that's a picture on its own, but yeah, no one deserves it more than that man. Wout van Aert, pure brilliance today.
For the first time, the women's Paris-Roubaix was held on the same day as the men's, and world superstar Marianne Vos was making an emotional return to racing 2 weeks after losing her father.
Pressure is on. Danique Hangeveld on the front. It's Pauline Veron-Prevot that starts to make a move on the front. It is game on here in Paris-Roubaix Femmes, and Franzi Koch through to the front. The German champion throwing down the challenge. Franzi Koch makes a move. The roar of the crowd. Marianne Vos on the back. Franzi Koch locked in the middle. Where is Paris-Roubaix Femmes going? It's all down to a 3-rider group sprint here. Second and twice fourth for the greatest of all time on the back. Franzi Koch looking for the biggest win of her career for FDJ United Suez. You see her out of the saddle in the middle of the group. Can she outwit the two Visma Lisa bike riders? The sprint starts. Marianne Vos and Franzi Koch are going to go power to power as it opens up into the home straight. Marianne Vos in the yellow. It's shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow. Marianne Vos and Franzi Koch, the throw to the line there, and she becomes a legend of Paris-Roubaix, the winner of the 2026 edition is Franzi Koch of FDJ United Suez for Germany. Wow.
It's kind of hard to believe, I've been dreaming about it. I've been really hoping that it will work out, but Roubaix is like a race where everything can happen. And then that it in the end worked out, is like a dream. Having two riders of the same team is on the one hand a challenge, on the other hand also a benefit a little bit, because the work is not necessarily on you. I tried to get rid of them a little bit, in the end I had to gamble for the sprint and it worked out.
One of the overriding themes of the week surrounded the amount of TV coverage given to the women's race. Now, here at TNT Sports, we showed every single kilometre made available by the race organisers. But it turned out to be much less than when raced on a separate day in the last few years. As a cycling fan, it seemed an obvious step back. We used to have the whole weekend in hell. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, let us know if you think that it's better on the same day, as it's been this year, or if the race should return to having their own days. Post what you think in the comments section below.
Believe it or not, there was more racing last week. On Wednesday, Flanders' oldest classic produced the two bunch sprints we'd expected. First, the Skel de Presse women saw a chaotic, crash-marred finale. After 3 straight second places in this race, Charlotte Kohl finally got her win. The Flying Dutch woman finally taking victory for Phoenix Premier Tech, ahead of Nienke Veenhoven and former world champion Elisa Balsamo. The men's race was celebrating 100 years of finishing in Schoten on the outskirts of Antwerp. And on the way in, yet more collisions occurred. The survivors came to the line, with Tim Merlier winning for a 3rd straight year, equaling a sequence set by Marcel Kittel last decade. On just his 2nd race day of the season, Soudal-QuickStep's main fast finisher was head and shoulders above the rest. Now, if it weren't for what happened in northern France, the story of the week would have doubtless been written by a young French man. Paul Seixas' performance in the Basque country, however, could have ramifications far longer than the race that we were raving about on the cobbles. The Decathlon promise had this season already matured into a full-on winner, with victories in Portugal and his homeland. Following those up with a first World Tour success seemed like a natural progression when Seixas stormed the Itzulia time trial and pulled on the first race leader's jersey. Talked up as a potential heir to Pogacar's stage race throne, Seixas was in best Pog imitation mode on stage 2. The yellow jersey worn light on his shoulders as he attacked from distance, and carried it home too in superb fashion. Axel Laurence continued the French young gun's impressive form and added to Ineos's growing list of victories this season so far. He took stage 3. Isaac del Toro and Juan Ayuso also talked up as stage race young stars and abandoned by the time that Alex Aramburu brought home a Basque win in Gallagher. There was more to come from Seixas though, who improved upon what was already a dream week by beating Florian Lipovic to the Queen stage in Eibar and sensing that he was on his way to the overall prize too.
Maybe I have the legs to win, but today is another day and I have to be focused and still concentrate. Nothing is done for the moment. I know that the other riders are really great riders, great opponents, and they are winners and they want to win. So tomorrow there will be another day. They will still attack.
A first French men's World Tour stage race winner since 2007 was confirmed on the final day. The bad weather turned up, and despite a big break going clear, with Andrew A.J. August continuing the young winner's theme, Christophe Moreau was finally succeeded for France. 19-year-old Seixas has now ended that 19-year-long hoodoo. How long now until a first male French Tour de France winner since the 1980s? No pressure, Paul.
One-day racing moves from the cobbles to the hills this week. Brabantse is live on Friday, and then with the Ardennes on the horizon, the Amstel Gold Race takes place in Dutch Limburg on Sunday. Those races and everything else this week are live and on demand on TNT Sports and HBO Max. There's also stage racing from Galicia, a date change for O Gran Camino. I'll be on commentary for that one, and I look forward to your company then. For now, though, we're off to think about what's happened, trying to take in the 1,000,001 stories from Paris-Roubaix. What a day it has been. What a weekend in hell, eh? We'll see you next week. Goodbye.